Hello and welcome to day 20 of Vlogmas. And if you saw the pictures in the clips ahead of time, we got snow last night. We were supposed to get 10 to 16 inches. We got about 10 because it snowed. I actually was sent home from work early because of the snow, and they closed the following day. But we got snow, and then we got about an hour and a half of sleet, and then we got more snow overnight. So if it hadn't been for the sleet, we probably would have been more in the 16-inch range. So yeah, so I'm home today. I like it. Anyway, yeah, let's get to the fun stuff. Here is my advent blanket, my mitered square blanket, and this is the yarn from yesterday. It is a really deep, deep, deep midnight blue. There you can see it. It's really pretty. So, and I have added it onto this end, so I will be working my way across this row next, right there. I have numerous things to share with you today because I also got a couple of things in Happy Mail as well. So now let's get to the fun stuff. Let's draw our yarn for today. Oh, it's a orange and red. And yes, the dog is licking out of her bowl. Yet again, one of you mentioned that maybe it's like Pavlov's dogs, turn on the camera and she runs to go get a drink. I think you might be right. It's like every single time she hears the phone, my camera makes this like ringing, like a ding type of noise when I turn it on, and it's like she looks at it and then runs to go get something to drink. So yes, there it is. So that will be going right here. So stay tuned for tomorrow to see that. Now I'll share some Happy Mail with you. I got this card in the mail from Sara May. I'm not going to say her last name, just for privacy issues, but Sara May, she comments occasionally down in the comments, you'll see her. So, and she sent a nice card. And she sent some salted caramel tea, which it's been drinking. I drank it already. Yes, it's been drinking. Yes. As soon as I started to say it, I was like, oh, what word do I use here? But yes, I already drank it. I had it for an evening after dinner one night, and it was very tasty. So thank you again, Sara May. And then Sarah Oliver, who I am doing the holiday along with, sent me a Christmas card as well. And the design on the back of it, oh, I didn't notice this. The design on the back of it is, I'm going to cover her son's name up, but it's his design. It says designed by, and his name, Nursery AM, 4th Primary School. Isn't that cool? I did not know that. So her son drew this, and I'm thinking, if you look at it, it's his little hand. Look at that. Is that cute or what? So there it is. That's the legs of the manger. And there's the manger. Oh, and there's a little smiley face in there, so I think that's supposed to be baby Jesus, right in the middle. How cute. I didn't notice that I didn't look at the back of the card until I was holding it up. I went, oh, okay. So anyway, very nice little card. And then she sent me some yarn and a project bag. There is a drawstring bag. I'm seeing if it says who it's by. It says 100% natural cotton. So I'm not sure who the bag is by, but it's got a little hat on it. And then she sent me a skein of yarn. And this yarn is John Arbon Textiles. Now, the interesting thing with this is this, one of these, I'm not sure if it was this or if it was this, came from the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. A few years ago, Sara and her family actually went to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, which they don't do anymore. They did it for a couple of years and then they stopped. But she went to it and she actually sent snapshots back that I showed on the vlog itself, on our regular podcast. So if I can find that footage, I will put it in a link down below if you want to take a look at it. But anyway, the Edinburgh Yarn Festival was held, of course, in Edinburgh, Scotland, and she got this at the festival. So I thought that was kind of neat that I have something from that festival, because I would never be able to go. There's just no way I would be able to go that far. So then, because John Arbon yarn is not something we can get very easily in the US, you can order it through the Woolly Thistle, which is a yarn company here in the US that does import some of the European yarns. But anyway, this isn't like readily available, so I did a little research to find out a little bit more about them. They are in Linton, Devon. Devon is an area of England. It's like one of the counties. I like to watch Escape from the Country, and it seems like Devon is kind of a vacation-y type of spot. It's down near Cornwall, out that direction. And they actually have a YouTube video. Well, they have a YouTube site, but they also have a YouTube video where they give a tour of the factory. So I will put a link down below if you want to check it out, because it's really interesting. It's kind of funny too, because they have a lot of antique machines that they are processing the yarn with, and they've named them all. They all have names like they're like people. It was a fun tour. I sat there and watched it. It's like a half-hour film, but it was really interesting because they talk about how they make their yarn. Now, it is a family-owned company. It's one of the very few family-owned wool processing manufacturers in the UK any longer. Now, here is, I'll show you the label and then I'll show you the back of it. Okay, here's what their label looks like. And then there's the back of it here, and it says KBN Mini 64 DK 25 grams. So I thought, well, what does KBN mean? It means knit by numbers, and the number is 64. That's the color. So what I learned was they carry this yarn in about every single shade imaginable. They take a color, like say the color orange, and they don't just have orange, they have 6 shades of each color that's available. So if you pick green, they've got from light to dark, 6 different shades. So there's like literally hundreds of yarn to choose from. This is a pretty rose color. It is very soft, and it's a DK weight, which means double knit, which we see here in the US more than we used to. It's equivalent to a yarn weight 3. So it's not as heavy as worsted weight, but it's slightly thicker than like a sport or baby weight yarn. So if that kind of describes it to you. It's also considered a worsted weight. Now this is where I thought I would do a little explanation, because here in the US, when we say worsted weight, we think number 4 yarn. But the word worsted can be applied not just to the weight of the yarn, but how the yarn is processed. So even though this is a DK weight, it is a worsted yarn. What the difference is with worsted yarn, when they take the fleece, they comb the fibers literally all the same direction. So none of them are doing this. They are lining up like this. It makes the yarn smoother. They line it up basically from the butt end, which is where it was cut off of the animal, to the tip which would be the tip of the fiber. And when it's spun in what's called a short draw instead of a long draw, which means when you're spinning, if you were hand spinning it on a spinning wheel, you would be pulling about, let's see if I can get this right, about this far apart from the spinning wheel, where a long draft, you're stretching it out. You stretch it out a ways and then you let go and let the twist fill up. So it's two different processes. What happens when you do a short draw like this, it doesn't allow a lot of air or fluff to get into the fiber. So you have a tighter, denser packed yarn. Where if you're doing a long draw where you're pulling the fleece out like this and then you let go of one end and the twist that you're forming fills that area, it's fluffier yarn. Okay, so if it's fluffier yarn like that, then it's considered woolen. Your yarns that have a halo to them, like a fuzz on the top, those are woolen as opposed to worsted. Worsted are going to be smooth. They are a stronger fiber, they are smooth, they are dense, and there's less air. And if, depending on the type of wool, they might be shiny, you know, have a sheen to them. Where woolen yarns are also soft, they tend to be a lighter, less dense, they tend to be fluffy, they might not be a regular twist. In other words, they might have some like little bumps in them, or irregular, as far as this is spun very, very evenly. Whereas, you know, if it's got like sloughs in it, then that's part of being woolen, and it is fuzzy or has a halo. And when they are knitted or crocheted up, the stitch definition shows up better with a woolen yarn. Where a worsted weight, the stitch definition isn't as defined, but the material itself that you are creating is actually bigger. Even if you're using the same size needle or hook, it actually will work up slightly larger than a worsted, just because of the denseness of the yarn and that it doesn't have the air and the fluff in it that the other does. So anyway, that is the difference between woolen and worsted when it applies to how the yarn is actually processed. So also in the package that Sara sent me was something else that is really, really special, and I'll explain why. There is a podcaster that I watch called Craft House Magic. She is also doing Vlogmas, and I will link her channel down below as well. And so Sara had bought some yarn for herself from Ellie. Ellie's the person that does the podcast. And she had said that she, you know, was looking to get some to send to me for a Christmas present, and Ellie sent it instead. So Sara packaged it all together and sent it to me. But let me show you what she sent. And this is neat because I have been watching Ellie on Craft House Magic pretty much actually since before her podcast started. She was on with a lady named Tilly Trout. She showed up on one of her episodes, and I thought, oh, what a fun person. And so I saw her on that, and then later she started her own podcast, and I've been watching since the beginning with that. And so Ellie lives in the UK, outside of Norwich, and I forget the name of the county area she lives in. I'll stick it down here. I know where it is in England, I just don't remember what the name of the area is, but she lives outside Norwich in the UK. So she does her own hand dyeing, and she also, like I said, she has a podcast. She knits, she crochets, she does bobbin lace, which totally fascinates me. I'd have a tangled up knot, but it's fascinating to watch somebody else. I just can imagine dropping the pillow and all of the bobbins get all tangled up. That would just happen to me. So anyway, but she also makes project bags, and she has her own shop and everything as well. But she sent some of her hand-dyed yarn. So this is, it's called China in Your Hand, and it is 100 grams. It's also a DK weight. DK, like I said, is much more popular in the UK than it is here. It's growing in popularity here in the US, but it's not something you see as readily as you do over there. It's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And here it is. And it has like a kind of a light purpley color in it and a blue. There you go, you can see it. And then she sent a little mini skein, and this is called Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, and it's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, also in a DK. And it's a little mini skein. So here it is, and it's kind of a peachy color, and then it has some speckles in it as well. And there you can see it. So thank you so much, Ellie and Sarah and Sara. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with all of this, but I will definitely be making something. And I thought this was kind of interesting because these two actually go together very, very well, because there's a little speck right in here. You can see it in here. That's this color. I think these two I think were meant to go together to make something. Not sure what, but something. These are going to go together. So yes, thank you again, and thanks for watching day 20 of Vlogmas, and I'll see you later, everybody. Bye.